Okay, I guess we've had some technical difficulties and our mic has been off throughout this entire webinar. I apologize. Sometimes we have snafus. Let me go through this again. And I know you've been with me on these slides, so I'm going to walk through them quickly. The problem we face, longevity. We're living much longer. Tara, it's not advancing. Got it. The other problem we face is all the government programs that have been created to help us create a safe, secure retirement. They're all too complex. And that's not just Social Security, it's Medicare, VA benefits, Medicaid, and taxes. And people often make decisions that are costly because they don't fully understand all of their choices. In our practice, we help people build safe, secure retirement plans, and it's a simple 3-step process. Calculate your lifestyle budget, maximize Social Security that'll help offset that lifestyle budget, and then create additional income to cover the shortfall. If you have enough income in retirement, you have peace of mind. Things that are important to know, you have many claiming options, and we'll get into those. The decisions you make today will impact your financial future. They have far-reaching consequences. That's particularly true for married couples where the choice of one spouse can impact not only what they receive, but also what their spouse receives. The Social Security system does need reform. It's underfunded. We'll talk about ways to fix it. Social Security does not provide financial counseling. You can't go there and say, hey, help me maximize what I'm going to get over my lifetime. They will administrate, but they don't counsel. Will Social Security be there for me? There's 3 major proposals to reform Social Security so that it doesn't get reduced. If it does get reduced, they're talking about a 20 to 25% reduction in 2031. The first one is increase the earnings subject to Social Security tax. Today, if you earn $176,100, all of that is subject to Social Security tax. If you earn above that, you don't contribute. What if we allowed people that make $1 million a year to pay in a much higher amount or contribute more of their total income to Social Security? We can also raise the retirement age. This has been done once before, raising it from 66 gradually up to 67. But there's no reason why we can't raise it to 68 or 69 if we're going to live into our 80s or 90s. Working an extra year or two helps keep the system solvent. The third option is to adjust the cost of living increase. Social Security is inflation protected. You've paid in, so making smart decisions will impact what you receive over your lifetime. And, when people say to me, Bill, I don't think Social Security is really all that important. If you claim Social Security, let's say your benefit is $2,000 monthly, and you claim over 10 years, you're going to receive over $270,000. What if you draw for 20 years? Well, that's $619,000. What about 30 years? Many people are drawing that many years. That's over $1 million of benefits on what originally appeared to be a small monthly benefit. So Social Security is significant. And the cost of living can impact what you receive on a monthly basis. We use 2.6% as the average increase of cost of living. That's what it's been over the history of Social Security. But if you receive benefits for 10 years, starting at $2,000, in the 10th year, you're drawing $2,585. If you draw for 20 years, your benefits now up to $3,342. And for those lucky folks that live 30 years drawing Social Security, their benefit would now have more than doubled at $4,320 a month. So cost of living is an important way to keep up with today's rising costs. How much can I expect to receive? Well, it depends on 3 things. It depends on how much you've earned over your working career, the age at which you apply for benefits, and which benefits you claim. If you're married or have been married and the marriage lasted more than 10 years, or if you're the widow of someone who you then have the right to claim on 3 different benefits. We'll talk about those. You can claim individual based on your own work history. You can claim spousal, which is based on your spouse's benefit, and you can claim survivor, and we'll explain each one of these. How are your benefits calculated? Well, your benefit, your individual benefit, is based on your highest 35 years of earnings. And they take that and then they apply some bend points. We're not going to get into the detail, but the bend points allow you to get 90% credit for the first 1/3 of what you've worked at, a smaller percentage for the next third, and then finally a small percentage, only 10% credit for the final third, up to that full amount of the annual income level that's subject to Social Security. This year it's 176. And your benefits are increased by cost of living. So people ask, this is a very important question: when should I apply for benefits? And your monthly benefit is reduced if you claim before your full retirement age. It may be reduced also for taxes, based on Medicare premiums, and benefits can be withheld if you work. We'll talk about each one of these. Other factors to consider when deciding when to claim: if you have very poor health, and if your medical prognosis says, I probably won't live into my 80s or 90s, I may well pass away in my early 70s, then health status and life expectancy can cause people to claim now, so they get benefits now that they wouldn't get if they delayed. Some people have a need for income, and so that's a driving force. If you need income, you've got to sign up. And it can also be impacted on whether or not you continue to plan to work and earn over certain income thresholds. And finally, spousal and survivor needs come into play. So there's many factors. We don't tell people when to claim Social Security. We show them the impact of their claiming decisions. So what's your full retirement age? For me, it's 66. I was born in 1948. And people born between 43 and 54, their full retirement age is 66. You see, it's gradually been increasing, and people born in 1960 and later have a full retirement age of 67. So how does this affect benefits? Well, some people want to claim Social Security prior to their full retirement age. And what they end up doing is starting with a smaller number. My full retirement age was 66. So if I claimed at 66, I would have gotten 100% of the benefits I had qualified for based on my work history. But if I claimed let's say as early as 62, I would have started with a smaller number, 75% of what I would have gotten at 66. If your full retirement age is 67, claiming as early as 62 starts you out at 70% of what you would have gotten in the future. When you start out with a smaller number, even if it's indexed for inflation, it will grow slower than if you start out with a bigger number. And how do you get the bigger number? Well, if you delay beyond full retirement age, you get an 8% guaranteed increase in your Social Security benefit. So for people born with a full retirement age of 66, by delaying till age 70, which is what I did, I started out at 132% of my full retirement age benefit. If your full retirement age is 67, you get a 24% bump. 3 times 8, 24%. So how does this impact us? Well, I said earlier, if you have two numbers, a smaller number and a bigger number, and you index both of those for future inflation, the bigger number grows faster. It expands faster. It's simple math. So this chart shows something very important. Claiming at 62, you get more monthly benefit checks, but they're smaller. And even if they're indexed for inflation, they always stay smaller. By waiting till 67, you start with a higher amount. And if you wait till age 70, you start out with even a higher amount. Well, the interesting thing about this chart is it shows that around age 78, the 3 lines cross. And what this chart shows is the cumulative lifetime payout from Social Security. And you'll see that by delaying Social Security, the line has a higher slope, which means you end up with more money. So simple question, do you plan to live past age 78? If you do, it might be advisable to delay Social Security as long as possible. For people that claim as early as 62, they do have one catch-up opportunity. And that is they claim early, and then let's say at age 67, they realize, gosh, I wish I had waited. Well, they have the ability to do something called suspend. They can go back to Social Security after full retirement age, suspend their benefit, not receive it, and they too will get the 8% guaranteed roll-up for the next 3 years. Something to consider. How can you maximize your benefits? Well, first, you want to examine your work history and make sure it's complete at Social Security. Why might it not be? If you're self-employed, Social Security relies on the IRS to send over how much you've earned. So if you are self-employed, it's important to go to the Social Security website, which is socialsecurity.gov or ssa.gov, and check your work history. If it's incomplete, if some of the years didn't get reported, you can go back and ask Social Security to contact IRS and get updated records to make sure you're getting full credit. Are there any missing years in there? This is very important. You can also improve your benefit by working longer. I'm 77. I'm still working. Guess what? A couple of years ago, I filed my taxes and time went by and I got a nice extra deposit into my account. Why? Because they had realized that some of my more recent earning years were helping my Social Security benefit. So working longer can always improve the amount that you receive from Social Security, assuming you're earning a fair amount. What if you're working? And I want to talk about 3 different things. I want to talk about this first, which is what if I'm working? How much do I receive? In the way Social Security is designed, if in the years leading up to full retirement, let's say you claim at 62 or 63, and the years leading up to full retirement, if you earn over a certain threshold, Social Security reduces your benefit. So let's say Michael Dell went down. He's 62, he applies for his benefit. Well, if he's earning millions of dollars, he isn't going to get any of his benefits because for every $2, for every dollar you earn is withheld for every $2 over a threshold. This year, the threshold is $23,400. Next year, it steps up to $24,480. So if you plan to keep working, let's say you're in a good job and you go, hey, I'll pick up some extra money. I'll file for my social at 62, but I'm earning $120,000. Well, you're likely not going to receive any benefit because of this offset. The year before full retirement, there is a $1 offset for every $3 above a much higher threshold. This year, the threshold is $62,160. Next year, it's $65,160. So it's moving up. What that means is in the final year before my full retirement age, if I'm earning above these thresholds, I'm not going to get my full benefit. Now, if you're in this category where they offset or reduce the benefit, they do an adjustment when you hit full retirement age. So it's not a total loss. If Michael Dell claimed at 62, then at 67, let's say, when he hits full retirement age, he would get his full benefit because he wasn't paid anything. But to avoid the earnings test, simple rule, wait until your full retirement age to claim benefits. Government pension offset. Not going to talk a lot on this, but this is one that was very big and it was very personal to me. My wife is a retired teacher, and for years, she got a truncated benefit. She had not only teaching experience under TRS, where she was eligible for the TRS pension, but she also had enough credits where she was eligible for benefits under her own work history. But the government had rules for years called the windfall election provision and the government pension offset. Each of these 2 rules reduced your benefit. If you claimed on individual work history, the WEEP reduction knocked her down. She was supposed to be getting $525 a month, but they reduced her benefit to $240 because of windfall election. She was also prevented from claiming against me, her spouse. I'm not dead, so she couldn't claim survivorship, but she could have claimed spousal, but she was prevented because of the government pension offset. Well, fortunately, the Social Security Fairness Act that President Biden signed back earlier this year on January 6th it eliminated WEAP and GPO limitations, and benefits were paid back retroactively to January 1 of 2024. So where's the opportunity? My wife is a good example. She claimed she got her bump payments. They paid her back to January 1 of 2024. March of this year, she got a deposit of about $4,000, and she did her happy dance. And then I said, would you like some more money? She said, what? I just got $4,000 from Social Security. Well, they paid her based on her individual work history, but they didn't investigate whether she was eligible for spousal or survivor. So we went to a Social Security office and said, my wife now would like to claim her spousal benefit. When she did, they paid her an additional check, came the same month, back in March of this year. She got $4,000 early in the month, and then she claimed spousal and got another $6,000. So if you're in this situation, it's not an automatic. They automatically updated her based on her own work history, but they didn't investigate to go, gosh, you should also be claiming spousal, or maybe if I had passed away, she was eligible for survivor benefits. So this is not an automatic. If you have questions on this, give us a call. We always strongly recommend go to a Social Security office and ask. Know your benefits, know your rights. Third thing we need to talk on is taxation of benefits. Social Security was tax-free income until 1983. That's when President Reagan signed legislation that allowed up to 50% of our Social Security benefits to be taxable. President Clinton upped it to 85% in 1993. So how does this work? If your provisional income, let's keep it simple, it's your adjusted gross income plus 1/2 of your Social Security benefit plus any tax-exempt interest you get. If you're married and that number is over 32,000, part of your Social Security income is subject to tax. From 32 to 44,000, up to 50% is subject to taxation. But many people are earning, married couples are offering over 44,000, then up to 85% of their benefit is subject to tax in whatever tax bracket they're in. You can see lower thresholds for single people or head of household. But here's the problem with these numbers. These numbers haven't increased. Usually in our tax tables, in our Social Security benefits, the numbers are indexed for inflation. These numbers were put in years ago and they have been frozen. So as people earn more income, more of our Social Security income is subject to taxation. There are ways to pay less tax on your Social Security, but that's beyond the scope of this presentation. If you have questions on that, come and see us, because let me give you a snapshot, a tidbit. Let's say the income that's putting you over the threshold and causing your Social Security is IRA distributions. Well, what if you convert your IRA to a Roth gradually or in one-time event? That Roth income you receive in the future doesn't impact these numbers. So if you have questions on this, give us a call. When to apply for Social Security, key points to remember. If you apply early, your benefit starts lower and stays lower for life unless you suspend after full retirement age. Cost of living increases are magnified. The impact of earlier delayed claiming. Small number, big number, both indexed for inflation. The big number grows faster. The gap widens. So the longer you live, the more beneficial it is to delay benefits. Your benefits may be taxed or reduced to cover your Medicare premiums. People that earn over a certain threshold pay higher Medicare premiums. We've done prior workshops on this. We'll do future ones. But if you're subject to the IRMAA surcharges, give us a call. We'll show you how to potentially avoid or eliminate IRMAA surcharges. And delaying benefits may give a surviving spouse more income. My wife is younger than me. Ladies tend to outlive us guys. By delaying till age 70, I not only increased my lifetime benefit, but if I go to heaven, my wife steps up to my higher surviving benefit. So it can have a significant effect on a surviving spouse. Couples should maximize the higher earner's benefit to protect the surviving spouse. There's a cardinal rule in long-term and Social Security planning. The primary breadwinner, if at all possible, should delay as long as possible, because they will maximize not only what they receive over their lifetime, but assuming they pass and there is a surviving spouse, that surviving spouse steps up to that higher benefit. So let's talk about spousal benefits. I said there's individual based on your own work history, but there are also spousal benefits and survivorship benefits. A spousal benefit is one half of the other person's, your spouse's, full retirement age benefit if you started at full retirement age. So a simple example, John has a full retirement age benefit of $2,000. Jane, his wife, has a benefit of $800. Now, if Jane applies, she's only going to get $800. But if Jane waits till her full retirement age, let's say it's 67, she's eligible for half of John's benefit. That's the spousal benefit. So in this case, rather than getting $800, Jane would get $1,000. What are the rules for spousal benefits? Your spouse must have filed for benefits. So you can't file for benefits on a non-claiming spouse. The spouse must be at least 62 for reduced benefits or full retirement age for the full benefit. So once again, if Jane claimed before her full retirement age, going back to my last example, she doesn't get the full $1,000. Anytime you claim early, you get a smaller benefit. And there's no delayed credits on spousal benefits after full retirement age. So it doesn't pay to wait to claim spousal after your full retirement age. If you're widowed or divorced, you may be eligible for survivor benefits, divorced survivor benefits, or divorced spousal benefits that can increase your monthly check. And here's a simple question. If a man is married to 3 women, using an example, not trying to be sexist, and each of the marriages, the first 2 marriages lasted more than 10 years, and then he's married again to a 3rd spouse, can each of those 3 spouses claim against him for either spousal or survivorship? And the answer is yes. All 3 can claim, and they all get the same benefit. They don't divvy up the pie. So if you were married before and your marriage lasted more than 10 years, there are spousal or survivorship benefits still available. And if your ex-spouse has passed away, there are survivorship benefits. So once again, don't just keep accepting the check Social Security is sending you. You may want to trek to a Social Security office or call us, and we'll provide guidance and counseling on how to maximize your Social Security benefit. Survivor benefits. There's 2 key factors on survivor benefits. The first one is, when did the person that has passed, when did they claim their benefit? Claim early, smaller number. Claim later, claim at full retirement age or later, higher number. So the survivorship benefit is based on when the original spouse claimed. Since I've waited till 70, that's the maximum benefit my bride can claim against. The second option is, when does the surviving spouse claim? Claim before full retirement, they get a smaller benefit. Claim at full retirement or after full retirement, they get the full survivorship benefit. Once again, so it affects both when did the first person claim, when did the second person claim. Survivor benefits. If a spouse dies while both are receiving benefits, the widower may switch to the higher benefit. So this is a very important rule, and people misunderstand it. If you're married and one of you passes away, the surviving spouse steps up to the higher of the 2 benefits. So let's assume Julie and Joe are married and they're both at over full retirement age. Julie's benefit is $2,000 a month. Joe's benefit is $1,200. Julie passes away. Well, Joe notifies Social Security that Julie has passed away, and his $1,200 benefit is replaced by the higher $2,000 survivorship benefit. If you have questions on this, give us a call. Rules for survivor benefits. The couples must have been married at least 9 months at the date of death to get survivor benefits, except in the case of accidental death. The survivor must be at least $60 for reduced benefits. So a spouse can claim survivorship benefits as early as 60, but once again, when you claim early, it reduces the benefit amount. If the surviving spouse is disabled, they can claim as early as 50. Survivor benefits not available if the widower remarries before age 60. Sometimes we have to do marriage counseling. I'll have a couple come in, and let's say one spouse says, hey, I'm thinking about claiming my Social Security benefit, and I'm going to claim survivor off my deceased spouse. And they're 59 years old. I go, well, you know what? You might want to wait. You might want to wait until you're age 60 to marry, because if you marry before age 60, your benefits are now tied to your surviving or living spouse. Divorced spouse survivor benefits are available if the marriage lasted for at least 10 years. Don't worry, there's no quiz, there's no exam at the end of this. A lot of rules, a lot to understand. Divorced spousal and survivor benefits. They're pretty much the same as spousal survivor benefits if the marriage lasted for 10 years. So to claim, your marriage has to last for 10 years. If you know somebody that's thinking about getting divorced, they're married to a high earning individual, and they've only been married 9 years, waiting that extra year to get divorced can have a pronounced effect on the benefits they can claim in the future. In the case of survivorship benefits, the ex-spouse must be at least 62. They don't have to be unclaimed. Before I said if you want to claim spousal or survivor, the spouse had to be unclaimed, but that's not true. To claim spousal benefits, your ex-spouse must be at least 62 years old. And if divorce was more than 2 years ago, the ex-spouse does not need to have filed for benefits. So they just have to be 62. What can Social Security do and what can't they do? They can help you estimate individual benefits. If you go to their office, they will tell you how much you're eligible for today. They can tell you the amount now, but not what your future benefits would be, because they don't know what future cost of living increases will be. They also they don't talk about the impact of claiming decisions. They don't talk about, if you're the primary breadwinner and you claim at 62, you're not only reducing what you'll receive, but your younger spouse, what they may receive in the future. They're not counselors, they're administrative. They do a very good job on administration, a lousy job on counseling. This is where people need guidance. When you think about Social Security, think of it in the context of other income sources you may have in retirement. You may be eligible for pensions. If you have IRAs and 401ks, there will be required minimum distributions at age 73. You can start earlier, but you have to start taking them at 73. If you have an investment portfolio, that can provide income in retirement. And finally, work isn't all bad. Work can keep people active and current in the workplace and keep their minds fresh and active. So when we talk about Social Security, it's a key component, but only one of many income sources that are available. Next week, we're going to talk about how to maximize what you can get from IRAs and 401ks. Let's look at a couple of quick case studies, because people go, is there really that much money in play here? Susan is age 62. Her full retirement age is 67. Her full retirement age benefit is $2,500. Susan has three options, many options, but here are three. She could claim at 62. And if she does, she starts out with a smaller benefit. She gets more checks, but a smaller benefit. She could claim at full retirement age, or she could claim as late as age 70. What's the differential? Well, if she claims at 62, she's paid out $814,000. If she's able to wait till age 70 because of other income sources or investments, she's increased her lifetime payout $309,000. That's a lot of money. Most of us could use an extra 309. What about couples? Well, here's a couple, Roy and Jill, real case. They were both 64. Roy's benefit was $2,790. Jill's benefit was $762 a month. And we assume Roy's going to live to 85 and that Jill will outlive him by an extra 5 years. Once again, three claiming options. They both claim at 64. The lifetime payout when Jill hits 90 is 1.2 million. That's not too bad. What if they wait till age 66 and they both go on claim? They've bumped the 1.2 million up to 1.346 million. What if Jill claims at 66, but Roy is able to wait till age 70? Well, now we've boosted the lifetime payout, assuming Jill gets to age 90, to 1.5 million. That's an extra 272,000. A lot of it Jill's spending when between age 85 and 90. Having extra income when we get older can keep the wolf away from the door and help support our lifestyle. So how do we help people? Well, once again, we don't tell people when to claim, but we have some powerful software that helps people investigate different claiming options. It shows them the impact of their claiming decisions, and then they can make an informed choice. Next week, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about maximizing retirement accounts. Most of us have two major assets, a home or retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks. And if we have an IRA, we have to take required minimum distributions. We can also investigate ways to transition some of that pre-tax money into after-tax Roth money. Stay tuned. I think you'll find it very exciting, ways to maximize the value and the impact of your retirement accounts in retirement. For many of us, we have home equity. And the week after that, we're going to talk about ways to tap home equity tax-free to support a safe, secure retirement. I want to apologize for our technical difficulties today. Hopefully you enjoyed what we've got. This webinar will be recorded, although we'll probably re-record it so we don't have a big quiet time in there. And want to thank you for joining us. Join us next week for more education to support and build a safe, secure retirement. How did we go from doing a mic check to where it was